Welcome, sir.
Please be seated.
You may be seated, please.
The representatives of youth organizations here present. We congratulate INEC, and we call this the new INEC, under your leadership, for having turned 3 years in June. We also want to commend the new INEC and the Commission under your leadership for giving us hope as young Nigerians and a renewed faith in the electoral process as a result of the outcome of the 2011 elections, which is regarded as a watershed in our electoral history. For the first time in our democratic history, as young people in different parts of the world, and even when we hold meetings, we can proudly say we are Nigerians and we can't contest, we can't conduct credible elections. We commend the Commission for that. We also bring you congratulations and commendations from the youth constituency on the release of the strategic plan of action for INEC. We are glad that some parts of that action plan takes into consideration the largest block of our population, which is young people. Having said that, Mr. Chairman, sir, we want to appreciate the Commission once again for recognizing the power of the Nigerian youth. At different fora, you have been quoted as saying that the success of the 2011 elections wouldn't have been possible without the contributions of young people. And those are young people who are engaged, young people who are serving their country under the NYSC program, who exhibited so much enthusiasm in engaging the conduct of the 2011 elections. Interestingly, we are also glad that on one particular occasion, when the issue or the question rose with respect to the voter registration, and you mentioned that looking in view of the challenges that was prevalent at that period, the Commission had no choice but to look inward, and then a young person developed the software that was used for the for the voter registration. Indeed, it's a clear demonstration that young people, one way or the other, contributed to the success of the 2011 elections. And so, Mr. Chairman, we want to appreciate you for recognizing that contribution of young people. In the last few months, Mr. Chairman, and principal members of the Commission will agree with me that young people have great concerns about the 2015 elections. In March, we did a public hearing supported by our partner DGD and indeed the National Democratic Institute, where I'm glad Mrs. Thelma is also here, who represented you at that public hearing. Immediately after the public hearing, we convened a retreat, and I'm glad that Barrister Bauer is also here, who was part of that retreat. And there were grave concerns as we marched towards the 2015 elections. One key concern for us as young people is access to information. Mr. Chairman, I want to say on behalf of organizations here present that we are interested in the success of the 2015 elections. And we acknowledge and recognize your contributions and the contributions of your team to the development of our electoral process. But we are concerned that the various efforts that we make to access information from the Commission has to a large extent proven abortive. The other concern we have is the viable communication interface between INEC and citizens, especially young people. So much is said that we constitute the largest block of our population, but most times we are often marginalized and sidelined. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to talk about the marginalization question. We're here to say that we are we are citizens of this country, and we are concerned, and we are taking a bold step to engage with the Commission and say, hey, Commission, you can build a strong movement around young people in the build-up to the 2015 elections. The other concern for us is the absence of youth data. Most times for organizations here working on elections, we want to know how many young persons contest for elections. We also want to know at exit polls how many young persons voted and all that, because we need this data, this disaggregated data, to enable us plan programmatic interventions that are geared towards upping and bolstering youth political participation. Another concern for us is the idea of stereotyping youth. Most times when allusions are made to young people, they call us as the exponents of electoral violence. We totally acknowledge that. We know that yes, most times, and in fact all the times, political actors encumber on the innocence of young people, and they instrumentalize them for the conduct, for perpetuating violence. And this is further revealed at the outcome of the 2011 elections. But there is little attention that is paid to the political aspirations of young people, due to the fact that within the political parties, the lack of internal party democracy is absent. And so when young people want to run for office, for those who have political aspirations, and the parties close up the process and they are not able to participate, either as a result of the age threshold in the parties or the impact of money politics in our polity, is a major source of concern for us. We also want the Commission to put that to our agenda. While we talk about young people engaging in electoral violence, let's also look at avenues where we can also engage them and promote and up their participation. Mr. Chairman, sir, the next issue is the issue dealing with the engagement of NYSC members, which is at the core of election management in Nigeria. A few months ago, organizations here forwarded the FOI request to the Commission to say, yes, core members were killed during the post-election violence. Now, these are young future leaders of this country who lost their lives in national election duty. And certain promises were made to these core members. And for us, we strongly hold the view that the reason why perpetrators of electoral violence will continue to perpetrate violence, it's because nobody gets punished at the end of the day, and there is no justice. We acknowledge the profound institutional challenges in the Commission, and which has necessitated the call for the establishment of an Electoral Offences Commission. Up till this moment, there are some core members out there who have not in any way been compensated. And this is a source of great concern, because young people are passionate about their country. They want to contribute to development. But what assurance are you giving to young people that if you sacrifice yourself for your country, one way or the other you get compensated? It's a source of great concern for us. And for those of us working in elections, we're also asking, what does the MOU that regulates the relationship between NYSC say? Because on one hand, what happens to the security of core members? If the security of core members is not guaranteed in 2015 elections, you would agree with me that a lot of young people will be scared and they will be reluctant to engage the 2015 elections. Mr. Chairman, these are serious concerns. The continuous voter registration, the constituency delimitation, very, very critical, important activities in our electoral life. But, Mr. Chairman, there is no information which I have talked about. For us, we want to advance the following recommendations. That there is a great need for early preparations for elections. And we are witnesses to the efforts made by the Commission to prepare early for the elections. The issues around access to information, we also want the Commission to take a critical look at that. We, as young people who are tech savvy, or we're always used to technology, we acknowledge the changes on the INEC website. At least to a large extent, what we have contains content that encourages participation. But we feel and we strongly hold the view that we can do more with that to have up-to-date access, up-to-date information that young people can use. And the danger in this is, in order to restore and sustain this confidence you already have on the part of young people, the Commission needs to provide information for us, because it boosts confidence. And when we don't have access, or we make efforts to get information, we feel once INEC starts shrouding its activities in secrecy, they are bound to be questioned. Mr. Chairman, we have come with a proposal, and that proposal is the need for INEC, just like you have a gender policy that regulates or that provides, that sets a framework for engaging women. There's a great need for INEC, like I earlier stated, in building a movement around young people to develop some sort of policy, a youth policy that regulates your interface with young people. Because what young people want is we want the Commission to place young people and youth on its radar as a topmost priority, because this burgeoning population that is largely dominated with young people, who are also majority of the registered voters, are a determining factor in the conduct of elections. Mr. Chairman, this group of young people strongly support your position and the position of the Commission that there is a great need for an Electoral Offences Commission. As an alliance that has followed the constitutional review process, it might interest you to know that some of us here were the ones who actually counted the votes at the House of Reps last week during the voting on some amendments. And with respect to independent candidacy and the Electoral Offences Commission, we are glad that the House passed that, and we are hoping that when it goes to the State Houses of Assembly, we will have that commission or that particular amendment passed. As active citizens, Mr. Chairman, we want to work with you. We want to support the Commission. And that is why we're here today. We also note that election is not an activity that occurs not only in 4 years, but in the course of the entire electoral cycle. We want INEC to come out frontally to say, young people, this is a program of action that we have for you, and this is how we want to engage you. Not just with respect to programs that are geared towards non-violent electoral participation, though very, very important. But we're also looking at, as INEC regulates political parties, how can you put, as part of the guidelines for regulating political parties, how are they able to engage youth? How are they able to sanction political party members who encumber on the innocence of young people, or who instrumentalize them for the perpetration of violence? And lastly, Mr. Chairman, we have also come to ask INEC about its plans for the 2015 elections, beginning with the continuous voters registration. We would like to know what are the plans you have. We also like to know what are your plans with respect to the constituency delimitation exercise, and your future plans, because we also are very interested in working closely with the Commission so the 2015 elections can be better than the 2011 elections. And in conclusion, Mr. Chairman, we've been hearing permanent voters card permanent voters card, permanent voters card. Young people want to know, what is this issue around permanent voters card? They want to know, when will it be issued? Beyond what we read on the newspapers, we want to hear from you, Mr. Chairman. Because as you can see here, most organizations here are also leaders of coalitions, and they've got a huge constituency. And so any information that you give us here, be rest assured that it will go round to all the nooks and crannies of this country. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for accepting to meet with us